On this episode of The Breakthrough Show, we're meeting one of host Jessica Dugas' personal practitioners, the founder of Brain-Based Wellness, Elisabeth Kristof. In our conversation, we'll dive deep into the exciting world of applied neurology, and you'll learn how simple daily practices can change your life. You'll even get to try some with us on air. Then you'll be treated to a beautiful conversation with licensed clinical social worker Tasha Hunter. You'll be moved by Tasha's drive to use her own healing journey to help heal others, and you'll hear all about her memoir, What Children Remember. All this and more coming up on today's show.
Life gives us moments when we have the opportunity to make a choice, and what we choose has the potential to change our lives forever. Join us now for another inspired episode of The Breakthrough. And now, please welcome the creator and host of the show, Jessica Dugas.
Welcome back to The Breakthrough Show. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and I'm super excited that you're here today for another episode of the daytime talk show, inspiring you to change the way you look at and live your life through inspirational stories, entertainment, and as today we'll show you, we also have amazing people on that demonstrate different things for us that are something that can really change our life. And I am pumped to have our guests on the show today because coming up later on the show, we have a clinical social worker who has done a lot of work around childhood trauma. She's also an Air Force veteran, and she has a master's degree in public admin and social work. And she has an amazing book available on Amazon called What Children Remember. So definitely stick around for the middle of the show where we'll be talking to Tasha Hunter. Coming up first on the show, though, I continue to be blown away. And I know that those of you guys who have been watching the show throughout this season, I've said it 100 times. My apologies for that. But I'm continuing to be blown away about how things just sort of line up. And I have shared very openly on this show that there are some things that I've dealt with in my own personal healing journey that have been a challenge. And one of our friends here at the show, Oleg Lohid, who has been a guest on the show, introduced me to our guest that's coming up today and said, I think she might be great for the show. And then within 5 minutes of us having conversation, I realized that it was going to be more than just that for me. And she is the founder of Brain-Based Wellness. It pairs a lot of different things together. I'm going to let her explain all of that to you, but she helps people move through stress, regulate their emotions, and do a lot of different things that for me points to living a life that is more balanced and in flow. So please welcome to the show for the first time, Elisabeth Kristof. Elisabeth, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here today.
Absolutely. I'm excited that you're here. As I said, was telling you behind the scenes before we hit the record button this morning that a lot of times we'll have people come on that demonstrate different things, and I don't really know where to go with it because I haven't tried it myself, but I have jumped in and tried your morning practice for about a week and a half at the time of this recording. And I'm excited in a little bit as we go on to tell you about some of the changes that I've seen already in myself. So
I can't wait to hear.
Yeah. Well, I would love for you, it's a tradition on this show, to share something that's bringing you joy today, Elisabeth.
What's bringing me joy today is I have been out in nature. I went for a nice long hike, and that's a huge part of me regulating my own nervous system so that I can show up for my clients. I also do my drills in my morning practice, but I am pretty obsessed right now with making sure I get out in nature every day, put my feet in the water, touch a tree, climb over a rock, and it's really an important part of my life. And it brings me so much joy every morning.
I love that. And, people laugh and they poo-poo the hugging the tree thing, but it really is a nice thing to do.
Seriously, trees are Trees are magical beings, and they really bring me a lot of joy.
They do 100%. Well, I know you work in the realm of applied neurology. Can you explain to people what that is? What exactly does that mean?
Yeah, so applied neurology is basically just taking the latest in brain science research and making it into really practical exercises, or we call them neuro drills, that people can use on a daily basis to train their nervous system, to move their nervous system in a positive direction. So if you think about training your body at the gym to get stronger and to perform better, you can actually do the same thing with your nervous system. All of us are born with this really intelligent, well designed system inside of us that drives all of our behavior, our life experience, our emotional well being. And that system is always changing in response to the stimulus that we give it. And so, applied neurology or functional neurology is just choosing to give your brain and your nervous system stimulus through these exercises that move that change in a positive direction so that you can be more resilient and you can move your body and your nervous system out of a protective mode into a performance mode.
Amazing, amazing. I know the little bit that I've worked with the program that you have laid out for everybody on your website, that you talk a lot about our whole bodies having all of this stimulus, all like everything from down to the bones. And that was something I didn't even think about, because I think when we think about things having being stimulated, we think more of nerves and not necessarily bone or skin or like any, there's nerves within those things, but we don't think of every single part of us having stimulus. So my question for you would be, why is this something that we need to be intentional in doing? Aren't we naturally stimulating our body all the time?
Definitely, we're naturally stimulating our body all of the time. However, sometimes that stimulus is moving us in a negative direction.
Mm.
Sometimes that stimulus is creating an output that we don't want. And as we go through life, whether that's from childhood trauma or whether it's from a long period of chronic stress, much like a pandemic or a really high stress job for a long time, our nervous system can become dysregulated. And that dysregulation over time causes a lot of problems, and it can cause problems in our behavior. It can cause outputs such as chronic pain or chronic fatigue, migraines, stress eating, dissociation. And so everything that we experience in our mind, we experience in our body as well. And we really need tools to connect to our body, to process stress through our body, and to heal the deficits that develop in our nervous system over time. So we all develop different kinds of compensations and issues because of injury, because of life experience, because of habitual motion and or habitual patterns. And so we can do something to heal those deficits so that our nervous system and our brain are under less threat on a second by second basis. We can do stuff to process stress through our body, to process emotions and experiences, so all that energy doesn't get stuck inside and keep us dysregulated. And when we do that, then our brain and our nervous system begin to feel safer. And that's important because your brain's primary job is your survival. And that will always trump everything else. Your brain is always deciding at the level of your back brain, safe or unsafe. And if your brain feels unsafe because it's not getting good input from your different sensory systems, like your eyes or the balance system in your inner ear, your body mapping system, then it's going to start to create protective outputs to keep your world smaller and to keep you safe. And again, that could look like pain, migraine, shutdown, stress eating, all these different things that our brain uses as behavior change tools to protect us. And when we can reduce the threat that your brain is under by training those input systems to provide higher quality information to your brain, or when we can learn to process stress and emotions through the body using either somatics or EFT or subconscious reprogramming, then our nervous system is under less stress all of the time. And it will allow you to take bigger steps, to be stronger, to have greater range of motion, and you won't experience those other outputs like your migraine, like anxiety, like pain in your body. You'll be able to be more connected, more present, and really be able to level up your life in the way that you want to without feeling like you're getting held back by a body and a nervous system that's under too much threat.
Mm. Yeah, it's something I don't think we necessarily think of all of this consciously as we're going through our everyday, because we just get so used to the things that pop up and we think, oh, that's no big deal. Oh, that's no big deal. I want to tell you, as you're talking about stress response, one of the symptoms that I've dealt with for quite some time is one, a little bit of an irregular heartbeat, but also my resting heart rate has always been fairly high. And I've struggled to really bring that down since I started doing the morning practice. My resting heart rate, like it'll drop low for like maybe a day and then go back up. That's what I've dealt with for the last couple of years. It has been low since.
That's incredible. That's a massive
I'm
positive
I'm
output.
sitting here going, I'm like, is this thing broken?
That is so exciting to me. I love it when the drills work so quickly and so powerfully for someone, because then it really inspires you to keep doing the work and keep making the changes, because all of that's an autonomic function, right? All of those autonomics are set by our nervous system, our heart rate, our digestion, our respiration, the amount of tension we hold in our muscles. All of that comes from our nervous system. And so if we can create change at the level of the body and the nervous system, and the old brain, the back brain, then we can really change that stuff. And that is an incredible amount of agency to have over your own health and well-being.
It's huge for me, because as someone who has dealt with literally a laundry list of things going on with my body, when I finally get to experience a change in something, it is a party.
Yeah, I bet. And it can be
thing.
so frustrating for so long to
Yeah.
feel like you're trying all these things and it just feels like your body is always holding you back or your body is working against you. And so it's that real shift in perspective of, well, no, my body and my nervous system is doing the best that it can to keep me regulated and to keep me safe. And if these things aren't working, I need to find new ways of speaking to the nervous system, new ways of training it, new ways of communicating with it and resolving these issues, because it is trainable, it's healable, but we have to find the right way to give it the stimulus that it needs, or to give it the training that it needs to perform differently.
Right. I want to ask you about the possibilities that are available with this. I know we have to be very careful anytime we're talking about health related things, that it doesn't cure anything. But I imagine, with just a little bit of knowledge that I do have about the relationship between your physical well-being and your mental/energetic well-being, that having these imbalances can cause more serious things. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, it is my deep belief that a dysregulated nervous system that stays in that state of dysregulation for too long is dangerous and causes disease. Our inflammation response is controlled by our nervous system, and there's so much damage that can happen with having too much inflammation for too long. And just like you said, too much variability in the heart rate. I mean, you want some heart rate variability, but like you said, you don't want to stay stuck in that high state for a long time. And yeah, chronic stress that is not processed through the body and being stuck in a state of hypervigilance or sympathetic nervous system response, fight or flight, or going on the flip side of that to being in hypoarousal, where you switch into freeze because the stress has been so intense or for so long, can all be really damaging. It can cause problems with your gut. It can cause problems with autoimmune, all kinds of things can come as a result of staying dysregulated for too long. And, just personally also too, our behavior. In my own life, I have experienced that I have been able to train my nervous system out of chronic binge eating. I've been a binge eater all of my life from a very early age till the
Mm,
time I was about 35. And that was just a part of my being. And what I know now is that that was my brain's best way to get me to regulate my nervous system, to calm myself down, and to move out of a state of hypervigilance, hyper arousal into more of a rest and digest state, right? If I eat a bunch of food, I'm giving my nervous system, my body, the stimulus that it needs. And I'm also calming myself. But I had to develop new tools to get out of that behavior so that I wasn't harming myself all the time, because it did get to like a pretty painful place. It wasn't just like a little bit of overeating. It was pretty severe. And then at the same time, I've also been able to work out of chronic pain and anxiety. And I also have autoimmune. I have celiac, and I very rarely experience any flare-ups of that if I can
wow.
keep my nervous system regulated and use drills to keep my nervous system and my brain feeling safe and functioning well.
Hmm. It's fascinating, and I know that it's difficult for a lot of people that are accustomed to, you know, the allopathic way of healing, which is going to the doctors, treating a symptom, and then, you know, rinse and repeat basically. But
Right.
you know, so it can be something where can I really sit here and twirl my tongue around in my mouth and make any kind of difference at all? It can be
Yeah.
hard for people to look in and see that, but I can tell you guys, I mean, I'm blown away by the difference. I mean, I can show you, like, I'm going to be completely transparent here. I want to show you. So the day before you see this little drop, do you see? I started doing
Yes.
it the day
Wow.
before. That's
That's
how quick.
incredible.
That's how
That's
quick it
incredible.
happened. So, I
Yeah,
mean, it's
change at the level of the nervous system is instantaneous.
yeah,
And yeah, it is incredible, and it's so exciting. And I really do have clients that, and again, like I don't encourage anyone to stop taking their medication. I
mhm,
don't say that this is not a replacement for therapy or for any mental health medication that someone might be on. That's, it's completely up to them. But I do have clients that train themselves out of chronic migraine, that train themselves out of anxiety, that train themselves out of disordered eating, that train themselves out of chronic pain. And that there are tools that you can use to either supplement your healing that you're doing with your doctor and your therapist, or perhaps to find another path altogether if that's not working for you.
yeah. Yeah, it's guys, this work is so incredible. And with the, like I said, with a little bit of knowledge that I do have about different things, and also being my own advocate, specifically over the last 10 years of taking control of my healthcare. Once you start putting the pieces of the puzzles together, this really makes so much sense. Elisabeth's going to come back at the end of the show, and we're going to actually do some drills with everybody that we can talk about how to do that, and you guys can participate, which I'm excited about.
Me too.
So we're definitely going to come back and do that, but we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back with Tasha Hunter, but more with Elisabeth at the end. Stay tuned, guys.
Hi, my name is Brandon, and over the past year, the Delight Cafe team and I have traveled across the U.S. researching this rapidly growing industry of CBD products. What we have found throughout the industry were products that were inconsistent in dosage and used ingredients that weren't even lab tested. Products with chalky textures, bitter aftertaste, and worst of all, confusion among the CBD consumers. That's why we created Delight Cafe. A 15 milligram lab-tested, all-natural, water-soluble hemp CBD powder pack. It's odorless, colorless, and tasteless. Add it to your favorite drink of choice, wherever, whenever, on the go. Quickly find your calm, your balance, and your delight when you need it most.
Welcome back to the Breakthrough Show. As always, you guys have heard it 100 times this season already, and of course, in other seasons as well. I tend to attract people to the show who are very multi passionate, who have done a lot of amazing things. But my special guest today is one that I look at her history, and I look at all the amazing things that she's doing in the world, and I think to myself, I'm so proud. I'm so proud to be associated with people like this and have such amazing people on the show. Our guest today is an Air Force veteran. She has her master's in public admin and social work. She is an author. And one of the things that really inspires me about her story is that she's used her own traumas that she's experienced and helps other people with trauma and survivors and healing and all of that. Now, please welcome to the show my fabulous guest today, Tasha Hunter. Welcome, Tasha.
Oh,
So excited to finally have you here.
yes, I'm so grateful to be here with you.
Yes, it's gonna. Well, I knew from the first time that we talked, I had to stop myself from going and asking all the questions and getting because I'm like, okay, we're gonna just save this for the show. So I'm really excited to dig in today. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for your service as a veteran of the United States. My dad is also a veteran, and he's always so proud when I have people on that are
Mhm.
also veterans. So thank you so much for that. Um, Tell us a little bit about how you got into some of the social work and stuff that you do. Like, did you always know that that's what you wanted to do, or did you fall into it? How did that look for you?
Ooh, I feel very talkative this morning, but I'm gonna try to keep it short. I feel like I could talk all day, so I'm gonna try to keep this, rein it in. So first of all, so the answer is no, I didn't always know. When you're little, right? So adults will always ask kids, and I hate this question, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Mm,
And for me, I had a big fat question mark. I have no clue.
mm,
I have no clue. And that didn't just that wasn't just for childhood. Even when I went into the military at 18, I went into the military as an act of survival. But even then, I'm like, I don't know what I want to do with my life.
mm,
And so the older I got, the longer I was in for 10 years. I kept thinking, I want to do something. You hear this all the time. I want to do something to help people. Helping the homeless was not enough.
right.
Doing, different, participating in different community events, Big Brother, Big Sister program, that was not enough. It wasn't filling my cup. Participating in church events where we would help any kind of needy or at risk, population, it just wasn't enough. Now looking back, I realized that was my process to figure out, oh, social work.
Yeah.
That's social work, okay?
Yeah.
And so I, as a child as an adult who experienced childhood trauma, one of the things that resulted in is very, I didn't have really good relationships. And what I mean by that is I was the helper and the fixer and the
Right.
controller.
Yeah.
I know what you need. I know how to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got out of the military, the therapist said to me, she said, she had me list everybody in my life, and it was a long list, lots of people. And she said, what would happen? Because I wouldn't tell people no. I had this issue where I struggled with disappointing people, didn't want anybody mad at me. Whatever they needed, I provided. And just terrible. No boundaries didn't even exist. They weren't terrible. I didn't even know what that was.
Yeah.
She said, you do my job, but you do it for free.
Mm,
And she said, everybody that you listed, you're afraid to say no. You're afraid to kind of say, this is what I need in this relationship. And that's important because they're not more important than you. You're just as important. And so anyhow, she said, everybody comes to you. You're the depository. And maybe, and so we started talking about job satisfaction. I didn't really love my job. But just, I couldn't get her words out of my brain.
right.
So I kind of entered the field of mental health, wanting to fix myself, quite honestly.
Right.
And if I fix myself, I thought, can I use what I learned to help other people?
Mm,
So that's how I ended up in this field. And I hope
Right.
that wasn't too long-winded.
No, that was great. And it's really eye-opening because I think a lot of people I know first of all, listening to the whole thing, I'm like, are we sisters? Because
Yes, we are.
because
Mhm.
I've been the same way where it's like I've always been the fixer. I just want to see a world of shiny, happy people, and then I will be
Yes.
happy, and that's it.
Yes.
But I always came at it from that perspective of trying to fix everybody else, and in the meantime, I was a fantastic actress and was like everything's great with me, and not so
Yes.
much. But you mentioned also in there about joining the military as sort of an escape or a therapy, if you will, and a little bit about trauma that you've been through. At what point in your trying to work with yourself did that trauma start to bubble up?
So I was really, really unhappy. At 21, I attempted to kill myself and all of that. And although I was happy to still be living, I was still very, very unhappy. And so I overate. That was my safety net, was food. Sometimes it still is. It's a struggle. I drank and I partied and I self-medicated with sex and all the things. And again, I had all these people in my life that I wanted to literally, I thought, if I do all of these things for them, maybe I can teach them how to love me.
Mm.
And so come to my house if you're having a crisis. I got you. I've got this extra, I've got the spare bedroom. If you need anything, stay at my house. If you're sick, let me make you some soup homemade right now. Drop everything. And oh, you're moving? Okay, we got a truck. Well, and not that that's wrong, but when, just like you said, I'm helping everybody else. I'm doing everything for everybody else. I'm giving advice left and right for every single person in my life. But secretly, I was suffering and I was so lonely and felt like, well, how the heck can I go to them for anything when they can't even manage their own issues? Who do I talk to?
Right.
Who does a helper talk to? And everybody
Mhm.
thought that, oh, I've got it all figured out. No, it's that I don't trust you to handle my stuff. If I can't even, I can barely trust myself. How can I trust anybody else? So I had never been to therapy the whole time I was in the military. And I'm going to be really honest with you, Jessica. I called. The only thing I knew about therapy was what I saw on The Sopranos, and that's the truth.
Well, I mean, listen, you lay on the couch and you tell your
Yeah,
problems.
that's all. Is I'm going to lay on this big leather couch, this cognac, colored
Yeah.
couch, and that's going to be. I'm going to put my feet up, and so knew nothing about it, and no one went to therapy in my family that I know of, and none of my friends went to therapy. So I called the place and I said, "Listen, I don't know anything about therapy, and so if this is not a good experience for me the first time, I will never come back." What made me, I don't know what gave me the audacity to speak like that to this poor receptionist. And she said, "I think I've got the right person for you.
Mm.
Let's get you in as soon as possible."
Because they could tell after that you might need some help.
And it was an amazing experience. So that is what it's all of that stuff, the self-medicating, the poor relationship boundaries, and the depression and the PTSD that I experienced and just didn't know that it was PTSD,
Right.
that paved the way to me finally calling and saying, "I can't do this alone. I need help."
I started doing this show in 2018, and and it's interesting because the reasons that I've continued to do the show have changed over time. But last year, when I was really struggling with my health, this show was completely my reason for getting up in the morning. It was absolutely like, and so many people said to me, I don't understand why you just don't just take a break. Don't do it. Go rest. I said, because it's saving my life. It's forcing me out of bed when I would rather just lay there and go away at times, because the physical things that I was dealing with were so scary for me. And so I can totally see that of, how we throw ourselves into different things, whether it's food or working or sex or whatever,
Yes.
because it's a damn good escape in the moment.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's what we call it. That was like your manager, right? Your manager saying, come on, nope, get up. We've got to do this. And it gives you a reason to kind of live and be productive in spite of the pain, in spite of the sickness,
Right.
Whatever, medical issues. That manager is saying, no, baby girl, we're gonna do this. Come on, get up.
Yeah.
You've got this appointment at 10 a.m.
Yep.
Come on, get
put your
moving.
eyelashes on and hope you don't cry and they fall off.
Yes. So internal family systems has been a game changer for me, and for the rest of my life, I will probably be in some kind of therapy or coaching or something to just manage my life and whatever things come up, reminders and triggers and whatever.
Right. Can you tell me about your book, What Children Remember?
Yeah. So I published What Children Remember. It came out end of March, early April of this year. And I wanted a book. I just thought, what is my legacy going to be? And if this is the only book I write, I want to make sure that I put absolutely everything in it. And I wanted to talk about my own trauma, the childhood trauma, the abuse, the abandonment, the suicide attempt, the self-medicating, my sexuality, poor relationship habits. I wanted to talk about it all, but also blend my faith in God, but not use my faith as a duvet cover, so to speak.
That's fantastic. I love
covering everything and saying, no, God saved me. God made it better. God, da, 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 da. Everything was fine because God. When the truth is that life was really hell for a really long time. And I still believed in God. There were moments when I questioned, but God can handle in my opinion, God can handle my questions,
right?
My doubt, my unbelief, because God is big. And so I wanted to put every single thing in there, and I did. It's my first book. It's 336 pages of all the things. And I thought, is it okay to write a book? And I didn't want it to be this cherry-picked, idyllic, kind of everything's perfect now in the end. Right. No, the journey continues. The healing continues. And so I wrote this book for women like me who lived and maybe still living in shame and secrecy of their childhood, of all the things that happened, and are trying to figure out, is my life worth it? Do I have a purpose? Can I heal from this? Can I get through this stuff? Because it's hard. So I have specific women in mind all over the world, my little imaginary women that just rent space in my mind. And I wanted to say to that woman, absolutely, I'm living proof. You can get through insurmountable circumstances and still live a life of purpose.
I love that so much. I love how you really focus on the fact that the journey continues, and if you choose for it to, you can continue to grow and learn and peel off those layers, as we said. Because one of the things with this show is that we've always been focused on the breakthrough moments that people experience. And I was so bold last year to come out and say, listen, the breakthroughs themselves don't actually matter. That those moments where things happen, it's what you do with it and how you continue from then on. And we've had people come back on the show that have continued to have these moments, and I said, yes, that's exactly what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to continue to grow and evolve and change and learn and peel off those layers. And so I love that that's your message, because I think that's so important for people to know that, like, you don't go to therapy once and tell your story and then you're done.
That part.
That's not how that works.
That part. Can you say that again, please?
You don't just go to therapy once and tell your story and then you're done.
Yes. For anybody listening, that part.
Yes. I mean, it's just like, no matter what coaching, therapy, things we choose to do, even like in my work, I work with people a lot on affirmations and stuff. People will literally say an affirmation one time and be like, that does not work.
Yeah.
You're lying, Jessica, stop it. And I'm like, listen, you can't just say it one time and then that's it. It's like you go on a diet, you eat one salad and you're like, I can't understand why I haven't lost 50 pounds.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
All of that. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. We want the quick fixes, right?
Yeah.
And so, when you talk about the breakthroughs throughout life, if we continue with healing as our focus, we're going to have several breakthroughs, either breakthroughs or breakdowns. You choose your path. I don't want to keep breaking down.
Yeah.
I want to constantly evolve and to grow and to heal and to flourish with, what, and really thinking about what is my purpose. And yes, I've been hurt, not just when I was a kid, as an adult, and things happen. But can I, and this isn't mandatory for anybody that's listening, but for me, what's helped is, can I use that experience? Can I learn from it? And can I take it and show up in real ways for my clients, for my friends, for my family, and say, you know what, I have been through that thing. I've had a friend who let me down, that broke my heart. I grieved this relationship, or whatever the thing is, or I've had a difficult time, in this job or whatever. Can I show up in real ways and use my pain for my purpose?
I love it. I would love to ask you, as you continue this journey and this process on your own path, but also with the clients that you work with, what are some of your, other than sharing your story and kind of regurgitating what's happened over your life, what are some of your favorite tools for healing that you've used or you use with your clients?
My favorite tools, so I spoke about internal family systems. And so I love connecting the dots with clients and helping them to kind of look at where they are today. And I'll often ask them, how old are you? Oh, I'm 55. When was the first time you experienced feeling like you're not enough? Oh, I can remember the age of 8 and this thing happened. And then going to school and I didn't have nice clothes and kids made fun of me and I felt not good enough. Oh, so now it makes sense, right? And you've been dealing with in that part that causes you to isolate from others because you're not enough, you're not good enough. That part that causes you to not apply for jobs in which you would get a raise or a promotion because you feel not good enough. That part has been there since at least the age of 8. Saying just shrink, just, don't speak, don't, just try to be invisible. I could talk about parts work all day. And so getting them to connect the dots on how they're feeling and how they're showing up in the world.
Right.
I do that through internal family systems. I spend all day, literally all day long, helping people to find their voice.
So important.
Helping them to understand that their story, like a part of their healing, is coming into the full knowledge that their story belongs to them and only them. And no preacher, no teacher, no family member, no neighbor, no one gets to decide whether or not they're allowed to share their story. No, it belongs to you. It's your experience.
Yeah.
So working with them on that. So yeah, I don't know if I answered again.
Yes, you did. Listen, a little bit of faith in yourself here, Tasha.
You're
doing great.
I get lost in my words. I'm so passionate about stuff.
I'm the same way. I get it. I had a podcast that I was on come out today, and I was like, I was afraid to listen to it because I just remember talking in circles. And so
yeah,
I listened back and I'm like, damn, that was pretty good. All right.
Yeah.
So we have to have a little more faith in our ability to not get so squirreled by everything that we do. You have said so many amazing things today, and I just appreciate so much you sharing so vulnerably some of your journey. And I know that this is going to help somebody out there. What's the best way for people to connect with you, Tasha?
Yeah, so I kind of live on Instagram. So my Instagram handle is Tasha Hunter LCSW. So I will often have quotes from my book or private practice, well, not private practice stuff, but therapy tools and just things that pop into my head at 2 and 3 in the morning that I jot down. And so they'll get some different tips or quotes or all kinds of stuff. I have a podcast coming out early spring of next year. So that will be publicized on there and shared on my Instagram as well.
I love it. And I know that that's going to be such another healing layer for you, but also you're going to continue to help people in such big ways. I can see it now, and I'm going to say it right now. This is going to be really good, and you guys have to just plan for it and go follow Tasha on Instagram. Make sure you stay up to date with that. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to be back in just a minute with more of The Breakthrough Show. Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every month for exclusive programming, where we invite you to go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com. Welcome back to the Breakthrough Show. I want to give a big thank you to our special guest today, Tasha Hunter. Make sure you guys check out the show notes at thebreakthroughshow.com for all of Tasha's information. You guys, if you didn't know, you can click the word connections at the top of the breakthroughshow.com website, and it'll take you to every single guest that has ever been on the Breakthrough Show, and it has all of their contact links. So make sure you guys take advantage of that. We're back now with Elisabeth Kristof. Good to have you here. And we were talking a little bit about in the beginning of the show that Elisabeth works in the realm of applied neurology and how important these drills are and the intentionality of, doing these exercises with our bodies. And she's going to take us through some things now that we can all do together. So let's do it.
Awesome. Yeah, I think the best way is to always experience this for yourself. So whenever you're doing neural exercises, you want to always assess and reassess so that you can know if the drill is moving you in a positive or a negative direction, or if it's just not enough stimulus for your nervous system to affect change at all. So a really simple way to test is to evaluate your range of motion. So you could just sitting here, you could turn your head side to side and just see how far you can see out of the corner of your eye, and maybe do that a couple times so that you're not just warming up. And then also maybe just close your eyes, sit up nice and tall, relax your shoulders, and drop from your head down into your body, and just take an internal gauge. Do you have pain anywhere? If you do, how intense is your pain on a scale of 1 to 10? Do you have tension in your body anywhere? How intense is that on a scale of 1 to 10? What's your energy like? And just kind of generate a baseline assessment for yourself.
Awesome.
Because change at the level of the nervous system is instantaneous. So we'll always be able to tell how a drill is affecting you, and everybody's nervous system is really unique. And so it's just really important that you assess the drills for yourself and make sure that they're moving you forward positively. So the first thing I want to do is just begin by focusing on the respiration, because we take about 20,000 breaths per day. So if we can just every once in a while bring some conscious awareness to our respiration and work on making our exhalation longer than our inhalation, and that will help move us out of fight and flight into more of a calm and respond state of being. And usually this has a pretty high payoff, and it's super simple. So we're going to just sit up nice and tall. We're going to breathe in through our nose. We're going to purse our lips like we're breathing out through a straw. And we're going to make our exhalation twice as long as our inhalation. So we'll breathe in, pause, exhale. Again, breathing in, pause, exhale. Again, breathing in, pause, exhale. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do that 2 more times. Try to breathe into the belly, let the belly soften, pause, and then exhale. Nice, long, slow exhale. 3, 2, 1. And then one more time, breathing in all the way down into the belly, pause, exhale. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then sit up tall again and just try again. Try rotating the head side to side. See if you can see any further out of the corner of your eye. Notice how you feel inside. Do you feel a little bit calmer, maybe a little bit more present? And if you did, that's a positive response from the drill. And that means it's a really simple way to start to improve the health of your nervous system, to re-regulate you. And you can do that just in between meetings. You can do it when you start to feel signals of stress, just to calm you down, bring you back into the present. And then another drill that we're going to do is to help stimulate our vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is one of your cranial nerves. It runs from your brainstem down into your body, and it gives the information from your body back up to your brain. It also plays a huge role in our parasympathetic response, which is our calm and respond, our grace under pressure response. And giving that nerve some stimulus and activation can make a really big difference in our autonomic function, like our heart rate, like our digestion, and in our overall sense of well-being. So the vagus nerve innervates the back of the tongue. That's one of the spots where it activates. So what we're going to do is make some big circles with our tongue over our teeth. And we're just going to go a little bit further back with that circle each time, doing 3 circles in each direction. So we'll sit up nice and tall, relax the shoulders, lengthen the spine, maybe draw the back of the head just gently back so our ears are right over our shoulders. And then we're just going to take our tongue over our teeth. Good. Trying to keep the mouth closed as we go, and then the other direction. And then relax. Take a breath in, take a nice, long, slow exhale, and then reassess and notice if our range of motion is any further. Notice how our internal sense of well-being is. And if for some reason you get more tension or you feel more pain or you feel like your heart rate speeds up or your mouth dries out, then that means the drill is too much stimulus for you for whatever reason. There's a lot of reasons that could be. So for today, just be like, this is not my drill, and just set it to the side and look for a couple drills today that are really positive response for you that you can just keep in your back pocket and pull out when you get stressed to help re-regulate yourself.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with those exercises with us. And again, you guys, I have to tell you, doing this myself, if something isn't feeling good, it's not for you. If it is feeling good, continue to do that. And I promise you, you will see a payoff sooner than later. I'm blown away because I really didn't, after so many years of doing different things, and everybody says, well, you need to take a lot of time for it to work. If you ever see a result at all, that how quickly this is paid off. And I'm so thankful. To big shout out and thank you to our friend Oleg for our introduction, because
yes, I love Oleg so much.
What was supposed to be just for the show turning out to be something amazing for me on a personal level. Elisabeth, I would love for you to tell everybody where they can find you, what you're working on right now, and also I know you have something available for everybody to jump into as well.
Yeah, so I have a free video series that will teach you 5 really high payoff drills for a lot of my clients that they have really good results with on my website. So if you just go to my website, brain-based-wellness.com, and you can sign up for that free video series there. It'll also teach you, like you were talking about, how to assess and reassess what works well for your nervous system, and just give you a little bit of a deeper understanding of how to do this work. And it's simple. It only takes a few minutes a day. You can weave it in throughout your day. It doesn't have to be like this big ordeal. And that's a great place to start doing this work. And then also in July, I have 2 free webinars coming up. One is for food freedom for people who struggle with binge eating, and another one is for burnout and resolving some of the limiting beliefs in our body that keep us stuck in cycles of overworking and then being exhausted, overworking and shutting down. And so I would love for anyone who struggles with either of those 2 issues to reach out, get on the mailing list. You can get on the mailing list just by joining that neuro course, and come check it out, because there are all kinds of tools available. And if these really help you, then I want you to have access to them, and all that will be free as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Elisabeth, for all of this. And on a personal note, thank you for doing this work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, it's been another fantastic episode today. I think, ending this all today, I think the big message that we can all take away is listen to your body, listen to your emotions, and take that to heart first before you bring in all of this outside stuff, because everybody has an opinion about all of the things we go through on physical and emotional levels. And if we really take the time to get to know ourselves on that physical, emotional, spiritual levels, then we're starting off at a really great spot. I want to thank my guests guests today, Tasha Hunter and also Elisabeth Kristof. Thank you both for being here. And until next week, guys, I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and I want to remind you to make every day a great day for a breakthrough. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Breakthrough. Please visit our website at www.thebreakthroughshow.com and be sure to join our After the Breakthrough community powered by Patreon. We look forward to